Hi guys and welcome to my channel. I know it's been super long since I last posted a video, but I wanted to make a new reading update before the end of the year, so this is gonna be about all the books I read between my last video and today, the last day of 2017. So first I read a bunch of comic books. I mentioned it the last time I posted a video. This is the second book in the Wonder Woman series. It's called Guts and it's really great. I kind of like the drawings. It's also featuring a lot of Greek gods, considering Wonder Woman is the daughter of Zeus, and I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely trying to pick up the rest of the series soon. I have now another comic by an author I've mentioned several times on here. She's called Penelope Bagieux, and this one is called My Life is Absolutely Fascinating. It's following the life of the author, writer, and she's like doing this kind of comic strips picture thingy about her daily life and how it's like super relatable. Honestly, it was super nice. I also gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I actually wasn't planning on buying it, just saw it at the comic book shop and got it because I wanted to read it, and it was definitely worth it. I have one more comic book that I also didn't plan on buying. It's called Grimm Fairy Tale Presents The Little Mermaid. It's actually not The Little Mermaid story as you know it. It's a kind of retelling, gender-banning story. It was actually quite great. The drawings are also super nice. Like here you can see, and just like on the cover, it's super beautiful as well. And this one is also quite cool. It's the Evil Witch, as you probably guessed. And it's about a male mermaid. Sorry, I just can't explain it properly. And a human girl who got a child together, and it's the story following this child. It's definitely something worth reading. It's a standalone, so you don't have to like buy an entire series to get the whole story, and it's definitely worth reading. Now, I have another book that I was highly anticipating for this year and also mentioned in previous videos, and it's Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, which I finally finished. I definitely wanted to read this book because it deals with a main character who has mental illness. She has OCD, to be more precise, and it's an own voice book because John Green also has it. I wanted to pick it up because it dealt with mental illness, and as soon as I started it, I realized that I absolutely loved the way it was executed. I don't have OCD, but I have anxiety and depression, and it's really fascinating to see the spiral of her thoughts because it's something I can definitely relate to, and this was really beautifully written. The plot of the story itself is nothing special. It's a kind of mystery romance thingy, but the writing was excellent and the main character was so well made and relatable, at least to me. So in that aspect, I would definitely recommend the book, and I definitely, absolutely, of course, gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is War, a Memoir by Marguerite Duras. I only have the paper thingy because I lent it to a friend, and it was super interesting. I wanted to read it because I'm working on memoirs for my thesis, and I haven't read many books by her, and I heard she was fantastic. In this one, it's excerpts from her journal, which are set during World War II and right after it, when she was waiting for her husband to come back from concentration camps. It's really well written. It's slightly disturbing, but I think it's something definitely worth reading, and I would definitely recommend it. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Next book I read on my Kindle, and I think I read pretty much all the other books on my Kindle as well, or friends lent them to me and I already gave them back to her anyway. I read Blackheath by Gabriela Lepore and Blackheath Resurrection, also by Gabriela Lepore, because it's like part of a duology, and I read the 2 of the books and I gave them 4 out of 5 stars. It's a witch story about spells, and it takes place in high school. It's also a bit of a romance story. It's also a family story because it follows 4 brothers who are like growing up together most of the time alone with weird aunts and family. It's a really great duology. I quite enjoyed it. I really love Gabriela Lubor's books because I love witch story and I really love how she writes them. So if you like witch stories, I would definitely recommend this duology to you. It's published by Off Tomes, which is a publishing house I absolutely love. Next book I read is The Sun and the Flowers by Ruby Kaur. I read Milk and Honey earlier this year and I really loved it, so when she published this new one I knew I had to pick it up, and I think I liked it even more than the previous one. I have to tell you before you pick it up that one of the parts of the book deals with rape and abuse, and that was a bit disturbing, but nevertheless it was really beautiful. I just wanted to put the trigger warning in case you wanted to read it. And if it's not something that triggers you, then I would definitely recommend the book because it's about strong women. It's about Ruby Kaur herself, obviously, and her mother, and it's such a great, beautiful, amazing, fantastic poetry book. I would definitely recommend it, and of course I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was a non-fiction book that I also heard so many great things about. It's When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. It's about cancer. The main character, well, the author actually, is a doctor. He's finishing his residency and he discovers that he has cancer, and it's how he's gonna deal with it until the end. It was so beautiful and sad, but really also trying to give hope. It's beautifully written, really beautifully written and emotional, but I think it's a book that is really important to read. So if you like nonfiction and if you want to read something different about subjects that matter, then this is definitely the book for you. Also, if you have read it, I would love to discuss it with you in the comments. Next thing I read is Flappers and Philosophers by Fitzgerald. I think I also already mentioned it on my channel. It's a series of short stories taking place in the 1920s, and I'm so sad to say that I was disappointed by this book. I also didn't like The Great Gatsby. I know, shame on me. I just don't like how Fitzgerald writes women. It's just, I just can't. And it was also the case here. I just couldn't like it. I wanted to like it. I wanted to enjoy the book. I had to read it for one of my classes, but I still wanted to enjoy it because it makes the reading easier and it's a classic, but I just couldn't. So PT only got 2 out of 5 stars. One of the last book I read was The Design by R.S. Gray. I've been following this author on Instagram for quite some time. I read one of her books earlier this year. It's like kind of new adult sexy novels, and I quite enjoyed it. It was like an okay book, and so I decided to pick up another one of hers because they're quick reads and I just wanted to like take my minds off work and uni and whatever. And it was like, I'm gonna say it was okay. It had at one point something that was really amnesiac, and that just disturbed me to the core, but it was just one short passage. I just wanted to put trigger warning here. I gave the book overall 3 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna try and review it on my blog to talk about what was great, what was not so great about it, and I guess we'll see. If you want to talk about this book in the comments, it's also absolutely fine. And now the last book I read this month and this year is Motherland, Fatherland, Homeland Sexuals by Patricia Lockwood. It's a poetry book. It's actually like a friend lent it to me, and it's actually quite weird. I enjoyed it. I was like not expecting this at all, but it was weird but enjoyable, I guess. If you've read it, I would love to discuss it, and I give it 3 out of 5 stars. And I think that's it for this video and for this year. I've read about 13 books since my last reading update, if I counted correctly, and I've read 102 books in 2017. My original plan was to read 52 books, so I guess I quite achieved that, and I'm super happy of all the reading I got done this year. And I guess that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Maybe give it a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos. And I guess I'll see you around. Bye!